Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I am the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I am going to be talking about the Aquarius super new moon that starts off the new year, whatever that means. Um, Before I get started, do I have any updates? I'm really late. The new moon is actually tomorrow, and I'm just now posting this because busy this week, y'all, which is a good thing actually. But we're having this new moon on the 21st. Super moons just means that the moon is closer to the earth, and so we'll feel it a lot more. This is the third new moon out of five in at 1 degree. And so that's also an indication of new beginnings and starts and all those other lovely things that come with newness and beginnings. Uranus goes direct during this new moon. I think I'm going to talk about that separately as opposed to in this video because I'm try to keep it as short as possible. We also have 5 planets in fixed signs. Now, if you haven't gone back already to look at my video where I talked a little bit more about the fixed energy, you definitely want to go back and check that video out. It's on my website, and you can get the link up above or over here, one of the two, to get more information on that. But I would really study fixed energy because it can also be like energy of Saturn, which is like a cosmic no, a restriction, boundaries, separation, limits, limitations, oppression, you know, all the kind of lower vibrations of Saturn energy, which is going to make a difference. And to be quite frank with everybody, I'm not going to lie to you, even though this new moon is probably the dopest and it's going to get even better, quite frankly, in my opinion. It's still important to understand fixed energy and why things might feel like it could be like an awakening, from the Uranian planet ruler of Aquarius perspective. Um, it's very freeing, but just like any awakening, which if you're following me on my page, on my IG page, which again, the link is either up here or up here. I highly advise people to watch it because a lot of the times those things come with turbulence, unexpected changes, and things that are really kind of out of our control when we're talking about Uranus and what it means to elevate to get to the next level. You have to it's like that flower breaking through the concrete. It's not going to feel like a celebration. And I think this is something to keep in mind as we approach relationships of all kinds, but specifically love, because I think Aquarian relationships relationships for romantic relationships from an Aquarian perspective can be seen as a bad thing, but it's a realistic thing. And nobody talks about it that much, that I think we really need to get out of our head about, um, you know, having to deal with upheaval, or change, or things that might be unfair in relationships. I think we really need to begin to understand what that is and that it can be combated and not to run from it, which is the reason why I think we have so many divorces and things of that nature, is because we don't have the proper tools to know how to be in a relationship. And again, I do mean all relationships, but I am genuinely speaking for romance. Um, it's not popular in Western culture. And so we have to break that mold. And Aquarius energy is the best way to do that, because in relationships you have to be yourself 100. We got this idea about 50-50 and what 50-50 is. And first of all, you're a whole 100 person, right? And so when we talk about 50-50, it really should be equated to 100-100. And then maybe sometimes that 100-100 of the 80 is you're only getting 80% of that person. And other times it might be 40 or whatever, but you have to come in as a whole person, not 50-50. That's not a real equation to measure your relationships in. And Aquarius are definitely doing just that. Like, you're not going to tell an Aquarius, I can't be who I want to be in a relationship, right? And so from that perspective of relationships, we really have to understand who we are, what we want, and what we absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, will not, our bottom line. What's your bottom line? And that goes really, honest to God, for everything in your life. You should operate off of that way. And I think that's kind of what we're breaking free from, this consumerist collective, this non-marital collective, or this I want to be alone, Miss Independent, boss bitch moves, and all those kind of fake, dumbass, unrealistic ideologies. Aquarius is going to test you. It's going to flip you upside down, turn you around. It's going to humble your ass into a more realistic approach when it comes to who you are in this world, how you want to be represented, and the steps you're going to take to carry that out. That is what this entire season is about in a nutshell, right? And I think this gives us a kind of like a introduction to what to expect when Pluto goes into Aquarius in March, which, even though it's only going to be literally for, like, I think it's like 2 weeks, no bullshit. And then it'll officially move into Aquarius the January of 2024. But still, it's going to be things to pay attention to. Whatever themes are coming up for you heavily right now and for the next 2 weeks, pay attention, because those themes are going to be a part of that energy for March. For those 2 weeks, you're going to see more of that. Or again, just pay attention to what's coming up, because it could be more, but in a Plutonian type way. We also have a conjunction to Pluto and Capricorn at this time. So there's some cohesion here, even not just because Saturn is the ancient ruler of Aquarius, and the modern ruler is Uranus, but it's just about the old Saturn and the new Uranus. And even Pluto in a Capricorn is that old structure and systems, business, the way we think about business, how we run our business, these fake dumbass, excuse my French and my seriousness, but I meant the fuck out of that shit, okay? These old dumbass single-minded ideologies that are holding us back from being great, awesome, amazing. We are an amazing people. There's that theme coming up here. We have to break all that down. And so when you're going through an ascension, listen, once something's down, the only way you can go is back up, right? And so we are going through an ascension. And once we break free from that old ideology, then we have to build it back up in a new kind of way. And so those themes are going to be played out with the Aquarius energy in general. So Capricorn season is just as important here as Aquarius energy, because Capricorn is also ruled by Saturn. And yeah. And then we have 4 signs are in Aquarius and 1 is in Taurus. So 5 planets in fixed signs. The fixed sign is Aquarius and Taurus. This can be strong fixed opinions coming out on social media. We also have 5 planets in air. So 4 in Aquarius, which is an air sign, and Mars in Gemini. Gemini is the other air sign, and then Neptune in Pisces, which we have until 2026, if I'm not mistaken, and Pluto in Capricorn ends officially this year. And so, this is about new beginnings. This indicates a new start towards your vision, what's calling you. And then you have to consider the moon energy, which is Cancer energy. It's the 4th house, and the moon is about our emotions, the public, which is where Cancer and Aquarius get along, because Aquarius rules the people, the collective. And then you have home, family, the past, even with Capricorn and Pluto, or Saturn in general, is the past, right? The old way of doing things, what we've done in the past. You have to keep up the moon energy. The moon is your heart. It's your deepest desires that you want, the things that you want, the things that you're emotionally connected to, the things that are going to make you feel like home, the things that are going to make you happy, and fulfilled. I think fulfilled is even better than happy. Um, your lineage, your legacy, um, and kind of your roots, and how you rebuilding that. What themes are you coming up that are coming up around home, family, your inner home, your body, and your roots, and what it is you want to change. And anytime we're talking about Cancer and that access, this is about Black people. Everybody knows this is a part of what I do when I speak on astrology. I'm not just an astrologer. I'm an astrologer who specifically gives advice on the Black community and us as a Black people, right? These themes are heavily bound here when we're talking about the Cancer Capricorn axis. But the moon is when the sky is the darkest, when something is being seeded or planted, when we're receiving downloads, especially in Aquarius. We're connected to the cosmic intelligence or your cosmic support team. We will have new things to think about, sit with, and apply it to the things that we've already done. I can't stress that enough. There are 2 different simultaneous realities that you're living within almost all the time, if I'm being truly honest. But for the sake of this video and to make it make sense, you're going to have goals and things that you're working on from the past, whether you're letting them go or keeping them or doing them in a new way. And then there are going to be some new things that you're going to get downloads about or receive during this time on how to expand on your dreams and what it is you're trying to build, right? Um, we will have, so we're welcoming breakthroughs and change. I think that's actually what I'm gonna name this Aquarius New Moon, is major breakthroughs when it comes to our goals, dreams, and vision. Family, please like, share, and subscribe. This video might be a tad bit longer because I'm finna go off. Y'all already know. Hey, it is what it is. Message gotta get out there. So please like, share, subscribe. Please like, share, subscribe. Please like, share, subscribe. Please like, share, subscribe for all the people in the back. As we are trying to grow our channel, family, we appreciate you in advance. And make sure you hit that notifications bell so that you can be notified every time we go live. Family, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Aquarius is the popular loner. It rules community, the people, humanitarian efforts, friends, groups of friends, the friends that you choose to hang out with, your associates, eccentric, being eccentric, like-minded souls, or your soul tribe, how you can follow your own eccentric ways. Aquarius is very genius. I think Aquarius is has a connection to Pisces energy too, which I think is going to be so dope to see this play out. I don't think you guys understand. we are finally going to get some headway on mental health and seeing it as I did a post the other day. Was it the other day? Yeah, I think maybe it was a few days ago. Whatever. A lot going on, guys. But I think for the first time, we're going to start to hear more about our five senses, which is Taurus, but our five senses in relation to mental health. And the four other ones that nobody really talks about because it's a very thin line between psychosis, somebody having some psychological mental health issues, which is Pisces, and then Aquarius, which is that genius, right? We all have these people, we know these people who are considered eccentric, different out there. They have a spectrum. They're on a spectrum of quote unquote being considered mentally challenged. Because those are the things they don't want you to know about. And so pay attention to the things that are being posted around mental health and the four other senses that nobody really talks about, because those people are going to come out more. We're going to hear more about those topics, as well as people are going to have more of those kinds of experiences. We are going to be extremely sensitive to other realms, outside things when Saturn moves into Pisces. I think this is going to be probably the most amazing experience ever. I'm looking forward to Pisces and Saturn energies and what comes out with that. Inventions, innovative thinking, outside of the box thinking, freedom, the media, information, data, how we tune out information that's not helpful, rebellion, electricity, it could be weather with Uranus more than anything. That's how this can show up. So unfortunately, I mean, it's winter season, so we could have a lot more snow. I think we've actually been having a lot more snow. Um, and snowstorms, lightning and thundering and all that great stuff. Um, there was something else that I wanted to say. Luck, long-term plans, politics, um, legislation, um, groups of people, um, mm, networking, concerts, big stadiums, and partying, going out and having a good time. So friendships and those themes are going to be focus at this time. And it's also going to show us where we rebel in our routine, talking about the moon energy. The moon can be our daily routines and patterns. And so breaking free from outdated patterns and routines, but also like where we rebel against having some kind of structural system, which is where the infight comes with Aquarian people. They could probably speak to this way better than I can, but it's always like, do I really want to go to work and work a 9 to 5 and leave out my family? Or the things that I want to do or accomplish, or even giving back and being a humanitarian, right? Aquarius is like, do I really want to do those things? Do I want to give somebody all of that time? And if so, where's the meaning in it? What's the purpose? Are we building a community? Are we coming together as a collective on a same common goal to build a community, or a group or a family? These are very Aquarian type themes that could come up at this time that I think we need to really, really take in and consider. With that Pluto conjunction to Capricorn, unfortunately, I do think that we'll start to hear a lot of politicians and um, talk about legislation and laws changing around not being able to come together as a group. Remember, the lower vibrations of Saturn is to separate. It's very oppressive to control, population control, even voting rights kind of control, and to keep their system running. And that's where we're going to see a lot of problems. I think this year is probably going to be a lot heavier and a lot denser to get people back to work. Um, I think with the Aquarian age, they even might give you that freedom to make you think that, no, we don't want you to go to work either. We want you to be with your family. We want you to have your life and live your goals and dreams and be great again. Make America great again, right? But you won't own any rights to anything, but you'll have access to everything through chips, through resources, very Taurian North Node type themes. So pay attention, knowing the difference. It's a very thin line between being able to have easy access to stuff and everything to make you feel like you're one government, you're one community, worldwide, together, we're gonna do this. It's a lie. Bitches, it's a lie. Don't fall for it. But everybody's gonna make their own choices. And so, in this, where we are learning where we rebel at, we have to control and measure the rebellion, but we also have to follow that in order to stay out of this new paradigm that they're trying to create for us through the digital era. Because you have to understand this digital era was set up and meant for their downfall, and they know that, right? Because it's air energy. Air energy in general is more freely. It's the only element that you can't touch, but you can feel it. And so they're not going to be able to touch us, but they don't feel this shit, bitch. No, let me stop. But it's true though, right? Because we're gonna start to work together more. We're gonna build on those groups and infrastructures and ideologies and bring more freedom to us. But as we elevate and evolve, you have to imagine they're just gonna constrict and restrict those types of things happening, because once we come together in a collective, we are way stronger. It's electric. It becomes a lot more powerful to rule and control. So I do think we're going to go through a lot of war and, again, legislation and things changing and population control. But just stay up, stay awake. I do think we're going to get through this. But before we get to the lighter, more sunny side of the Aquarian themes, unfortunately, we might experience the lower vibrations of that. Could lead to another lockdown eventually, too. I hate to say that, but that's just what it is. So we're going to see where we rebel and where we're stuck in a routine. It's important to remember that Aquarius is the ancient ruler. I talked about that. Saturn is the ancient ruler and Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So this is going to highlight something you do in your routine that holds you back, which is all those Saturnized themes. This period, so that you can address it and make it better. And so Saturn is the representation of the old ways. Talked about that. Um, talked about that. um, I think we're going to be implementing more work from home and use of technology to leverage things in a way that can be more helpful than um, enslavement, which, again, it's going to take a long time before we get there, but um, we'll be breaking free from ancestral patterns, breaking down old ways of work, old beliefs around work, hard work, that success, that business hustle that we kind of got going on. That's going to fall down. Work smarter, not harder. That's a Taurian theme with the Taurus and the North Node. Um, um, We're going to get away from the feeling of unfairness, and the acts against being a victim, and move into a more empowering space. A lot of family secrets and endings to patterns, clearing out old grief and pain, lack of freedom, tired of struggling. All those themes are going to come out. Letting go of rigid control, labels, identity, discipline to reinvent yourself and evolve, groups fighting for their rights, especially, the Black people. This is going to be I can't wait to see how they're going to fucking swing this shit. But we'll see. Okay, so I talked about a lot of that stuff. And so Saturn is the lack of business. Um, Saturn has showed us where the lack of owning your own business has made us weak and powerless, and how and where we had to deal with the microaggressions from work and your whole life. But you can't inherit a job, right? And so this is a bigger lesson that we're going to be taught. I think Leo season is going to bring this ideology and what I'm talking about to a head. Um, but um, that kind of turned us into that Pisces energy where we complain, 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 very victim mentality, bottom of the barrel mentality, or crabs in the barrel mentality, giving us psychological, deep-rooted issues that have changed us over time. Um, and the South Node in Scorpio has been helping us do that. This is why I like the fact that Pluto is conjunct this, not conjunct, uh, this is square this energy. Um, and it's kind of helping us purge and let go of some of those, again, lower vibrational beliefs around those things. Um, Especially with Saturn moving into Pisces, we're going to get more assistance to help us get unstuck out of this trauma. It's going to be like a grieving period too, which is also just another form of an awakening, by the way. Um, I was listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins. You guys know I'm a huge fan of his because he talks about this stuff all the time. And he was talking about how um, uh, Dr. Claude Anderson was sharing how we got into this mess. And he was saying how Black people or slaves would arrive at their slavers' home before the sun rose, um, to warm up their house for them when they woke up, to prepare breakfast, their clothing, and kind of help them essentialize to get set off until their day, until everybody was out the door for school and work. And then they would return back to their homes and their families. And did we ever wonder, who was taking care of the families while they was taking care of somebody else's? Um, Nobody was. They had to come back and do that for their own families as well, doubling their workload and making things a lot harder for them to live and progress in their own life with their own families. And that's kind of the root cause of how we kind of got to where we are now, why we idolize jobs and want to be like these people who have businesses, but we had them first. And so we have to continue. I think with Saturn, not just the oppressive part of white people and their control issues that they have over everybody, or wanting to have over everybody. That's not going to be the only fight that we have to work through. We also have to remember that Saturn is going to challenge us to say, but how did we get here? Right. And so you have to find somebody, if you don't already follow Dr. Boyce Watkins and many others out there that are having these intelligent conversations about our past, who we are and where we come from. You can never forget that, because without that, where is your motivation, your Aries that's fight that war? It's a war mentality that says, this is why I have to get up every morning and be fucking great. This is why, because I don't ever want to go back there. I don't ever want to experience that experience. And the only way you can do that is by remembering where you come from, the entirety of it, not just the slavery of it. Um, and then you, within that purpose or within that remembering, you build purpose and motivation that helps you get up and keep going in a way that's going to help you build until everybody that looks like you has better opportunities and looks more like a community as opposed to separation and divide and conquer and kind of all, again, those lower vibrations of things. So we're getting rid of that. I was really ambitious. I was just working to provide for my family. But um, through that, we're going to realize that there was no time for family. And so, if you want to be successful with your family has to be a part of your infrastructure that we're trying to build. So, where are we doing things? Um, they have us doing stuff backwards, right? Which is why we're failing. And so how do we kind of reverse that? Now, I'm not going to sell you guys this stuff like it's really super easy, because it's not. It's going to be hard and it's going to be a lot of work, but don't think of it as it's too much work, it's too hard to do. Saturn on the upside is about your goals, goal planning, goal setting. It's your dream board, your vision board, actual planning board, um, you know, kind of all of those tools and things that you learn for how do you envision your long-term goals. Saturn is your long-term goals. And how do you commit to doing those things on a regular basis until you get to that goal? You need to reverse the process as best as you can, right? So you got to ask yourself, what are your 5 core? You got to have your 5 core things that you do no matter what. So say you have a full-time job and the plan is to get out of that job so that you can attend to your family. But what small things can you do that are correlated in relation to your family that are going to help them build with you as opposed to coming back for them later? Your 5 core should be, and this is going to be different for everybody. So let me not say should be. You work this plan, what's best for you. You think of the basics. Like I think no matter what, the first thing you're going to realize is that you need money to make money, right? So learning how to invest the money that you get. Dr. Boyce Watkins has a $5 investment plan, and he teaches you the course on how to do that. But just like you would in your when you work and you do your 401k, sit down with those people and you tell them where you want your money to go, but you take the course to learn how and what to invest in. And then you can also do something on the side for yourself. You don't have to just use your money from your job or that 401k from your job. So keep that in mind, that you can do it for yourself too. You don't even have to use your job, to be quite frank. You could if you want to, but you don't have to. You can opt out of those programs, but then again, just make sure you're doing your own plan, because that's going to build your money and help you get more money. Now you have 2 streams of income, right? And so you can use these 2 streams of income for specific things. So say the first one is for your bills, right? Because those are obviously your 5 core things. All your bills should be paid, right? To an extent. We're not talking fully, because again, everybody's going to have different opinions, and I promise you there are 1,001 different tricks and tips out there. So don't take anything for face value of what I'm saying, but use this as a way to go out there, find somebody to help you get more structured in your budget, because this is what's going to tell you what's coming in, what's going out, and how you follow your 5 core. Right? So now you have 2 streams of income. So one stream could be used for bills, building your credit, and other household core items. The other one could be to build a business. Now you want to help the kids. So your 5 core. So now we're talking about your second Third thing, now you can do, say you don't want your kids in the school system, right? Because we know they don't need to be there. So you want to start homeschooling. Um, you have a stream of income for that with your second stream of income. Um, um, and making sure that they're learning something else outside of education, like what they're really good at. So paying attention to what your kids capitalizing on your kids' talents and gifts. Build them now, because when they're younger, that's when it's most important. And who the fuck, like, which one of us have the ability to work on those things simultaneously? Who the hell's teaching this class and having those conversations, right? Nobody knows about this stuff unless you get out there and get the information. But what are those things? You have to know what they are, and that's what goes under the second income, right? So now they're not just going to school, getting their education, but they're working on their skills and how, what they're going to be when they grow up, right? Um, um, and then spending time with family, that costs you nothing. I call them little mini family reunions. I mean, I know most family reunions are only held once a year, but how many of those are even being had still right now? I can guarantee you it's not much, right? And so, again, thinking smart about it, maybe once a month, every 3 months, whatever works for you, you should be spending time with your family, getting to know them. And then health and exercise, and then counseling. Those are just those are the things that I'm working on no matter what. I don't give a damn what I'm doing. Those things get done first before I give to anything else, right? Um, and you have to know what those things are for you. Um, and these things are valid for those who don't want a business, by the way, too, because I know not everybody wants to have a business, which is fine. But those 5 core are going to give you a strong foundation for just healthier family in general. Um, Change that generational curse, break those curses and behaviors that are happening one day at a time. Um, um, because relationship building is similar to wealth building. And so the inability to resolve problems if you don't heal is going to be very hard to rise underneath those conditions. You have to have a healthy body. Remember, building your whole 100, not just 50% of yourself, is very important to your growth. And then I put I do think we're going to move into more entrepreneurship or self-employment as everyday jobs, but that could be more long term. Um, but we're going to stop chasing jobs. And I think specifically more online stuff and making our own opportunities as opposed to the consumerist things. I think that's going to die along with that old Saturn structure, consumerism. Um, yeah, I had I don't even know if I can consider her a client, but it was very interesting to see this young lady. She was following me. Yeah, she wasn't even a client. It was just somebody that I was following, and I happened to be talking about the Aquarius energy and what it was going to mean for the collective. And she took it personal. I noticed it. And she was in the process of buying her own yoga studio. Um, and when I had mentioned that the online business was going to grow and no more, what do you call them, brick and mortars were going to be a thing because it's cheaper, right? Because when you have brick and mortar, you have to pay overhead. It's another bill, right? It's just as much as your other home. And if you can't capitalize off of that, it's not going to be worth it for a lot of people moving forward. They're just going to learn that that's a smarter way of doing something. And so, um, she posted when she got her yoga studio. Meanwhile, she was already doing the Aquarian thing. She already had a yoga studio, if you will. She was just working from home. And I don't know, for whatever reason, again, she wasn't really my client, but she wanted to have her own facility or whatever. I would have built on, because it looked like she already had a home. I would have built more property instead of buying out an entire thing, or just use the earth. She looked like she lived somewhere where you could be outside and have your business. This isn't about competition. This isn't about right or wrong. Everybody's still going to do what's best for them. I was literally just speaking on the possibility of things that are going to change over time, because it is smarter, not harder, even financially, right? Um, um, and it was very interesting to see. I blocked her, by the way. I was so petty. That was a petty moment of me, but I did. Because I didn't even know that she was trying to do that. So why, anyway, um, if you have thought processes like that and you're thinking, oh, I want my thing, Cancer rules small office. So it's not like it's going to be everybody, and every field has a different perspective to it, right? So this isn't going to correlate to everybody, but you always want to keep in the back of your mind, Aquarius energy is about doing things differently. And it's not just about the people, it's also about the earth, especially with the North Node in Taurus. And it's like, are we killing the environment by having a lot more buildings and things, by not doing it outside and connecting with the earth, obviously, where it's relevant, right? It's just something to think about when you're talking about aligning with the right thing to do for all people involved. And climate change, and all the other things that took them for you to have space to have that building. Was it a tree, that you had to compromise, or or you know what I mean? And so that's just a little example. I wanted to share that experience because we have a lot of small-minded people. Um, and I'm telling you right now, Aquarius energy is going to challenge you. It's Uranus, it's a generational planet. We're talking about a 7-year transit, and Pluto's about to be in Aquarius, which is a 20-year transit. I don't know what the fuck it has planned for you and me. I can only tell you the themes that I see. You can do whatever you want, but you're gonna find out. You fuck around, you're gonna find out. Okay. So, anyway, um, and then you have to pay for damages for stuff like that. Like, just think about it for your life and for who you are. What's in your chart is really what you really could pay attention to help you build and expand more. But yeah, man, hey, it is what it is. As usual, family, y'all know I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.